Hello and welcome to the Metroid Prime 2 Echoes Randomizer Tournament 2024. I'm Pierre Roulette and I'm joined here by Ivy Paw.
Hello.
We have an excellent race for you today. We have Lenophis in one corner, who's kind of a regular Metroid Prime 2. But we also have here a sort of an unknown name, Zimbabwe. This is his first tournament, not just in Metroid Prime 2, but just in general, or at least that's what I can tell from his challenge account. This is the first tournament he's ever entered in. And just last week, he was seeded like about 26, 27, something like that, and took a game off of Reed Whaley, who was 10 seeds higher than him. So now we have an even more uphill battle for Zimbabwe, the newcomer here. Lenophis is seeded 8th in this tournament. And it's going to be a sort of an underdog match for today. This is going to be using our Week 3 preset, Guardian Hunter. That's what it's called, right, Ivy Paw?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about it?
Okay, so first off, all of our three major bosses has the STK, so we only have the three in the pool.
Okay, so we only have 3 bosses, but we have to get all of our red temple keys to complete the seed.
Other than the Ing-type keys, which are usually never needed.
Yeah, those are usually optional. There is a chance, but I'm not betting on it.
No, for this one, no. Because now there cannot be vanilla, so...
Ah, I see. And there's no runner's agreements for today, so that's definitely going to mean it's a pretty standard... aside from that, it's going to be pretty standard. I'm really interested to see how this plays out. I don't know when exactly we're going to be starting. It's worth noting, we do start in main energy controller. We get Violet, but we also get up to 2 random starting items on top of that. Any predictions? Maybe a bombs, maybe a dark beam?
I'm hoping for an airy play.
Space jump boots. We're starting with SJ.
Okay.
That's a really good starting item. I was about to say if there was a little more time that my bet was going to be on the dark suit, but I completely whiffed. It's going to be Space Jump and, of course, our Violet Translator. We also have a freebie Power Bomb on the main energy controller itself, which is really handy. That's not going to be logical. We're not going to be expected to use that just yet, but we absolutely will because, who cares? And our first hint is a little bit mean. That is a joke hint. That's going to tell us absolutely nothing. Both Bigfoot and Santa Claus exist in the canon of Metroid Prime. It is very true. That's part of like some random scan lore or like dialogue, right?
I believe so.
I think Santa Claus might have been from the manga because there was like a manga like very early into Metroid history.
Yeah.
Which had a lot of very stuff that didn't really fit the tone that it would eventually grow into. And of course, we are going to have the boss fight with Dark Alpha Splinter. That's what we do at the start of every game if we start in Main Energy Controller. And since it's an item, and there's no requirements to do the fight, it just happens that this power bomb makes our life much, much easier. Hopefully Zimbabwe knows to make good use of it.
Ah, what are those bombs?
And those are bombs on Dark Alpha Splinter. You can see that Lenophis took quite a beating there. We should be fine, but it can always be a little bit tense. And Zimbabwe is going to be about to use his power bomb here, so he knows the power of the bomb.
Yeah.
And instantly ends the fight. We get another PB in the hallway. Very convenient. We can snag that with our space jump, even though we don't have bombs, by using that little slope on the side of the room. We perform a slope jump, and that gives us some additional height. So we get a few items here. We get Temple Assembly Site, and after that we do some Temple Grounds items. We're probably looking at Communication Area. We're looking at the hallway with the rocks in it. And we have a power bomb to get past the gate into GFMC if we wish. Very interesting stuff. One thing we don't have is missiles yet, so we can't open this door just yet. Now, there are a few unknowns. We don't really know... Oh, I was just about to say, we really wanted to see Amber, because then we can go get Hints and Aegon.
This is not a logic, because we don't have mains. So...
Oh, that's true. We don't have main missiles yet, so we're not logically expected to use any missiles. And same for power bombs. So we're not expected to have that Amber translator yet in terms of logic. So stuff like sand cache is not going to be in logic, but obviously that's very helpful for our hints, which aren't a factor at all in the logic of the seed.
Ooh, you're operating close to death. Ooh.
Ye of little faith. I think Zimbabwe is not likely to die. New players I find are actually, after a certain plateau, less likely to die than I think the experienced players are. They don't take things for granted as much as the pros do. They tend to play a little safer. And while that can cost little dribs and drabs of time, it does mean that they never take deaths. Or that they take them at least hopefully less often. Zimbabwe receiving his own translator and turning immediately around instead of going to communication area. We do want to get a power bomb here. Zimbabwe, did he take the expansion in the hallway? He did, okay.
Yeah, he did.
Choosing to scan the gate instead of jumping over it like Lenophis did. With Space Jump, you saw that he just jumped over the second gate instead of operating the airlock. Lenophis, meanwhile, is heading towards Hive Chamber B. This is going to be, yeah, that's going to be the light beam. Another beam-related upgrade in Ing Reliquary, which is very interesting. Now, we can't get Dark Missile Trooper just yet. We have to do some stuff in Aegon before he will spawn. So now we're really... there's not too many items left here in Temple Grounds for us to get, so we're going to head to Aegon. There's going to be one more waiting for us in the elevator itself, but we're just going to grab that on the way down. Cursed Lake is going to be a missile-related upgrade. That's probably nothing. Or actually, that has to be nothing, because you need Seeker missiles to logically enter a Cursed Lake. So the only other thing it can be is just, well, it can't, it's almost certainly not going to be our main missiles, it's just going to be an expansion. Zimbabwe checks the ship, we see a sunburst. It's not particularly helpful. Quickly refers to the map. It's easy to get lost in some of the rooms connected to GFMC since you cross through it multiple times in an average playthrough. You don't typically see the rooms together that often. Like when you're going to FTA versus when you're going to Great Temple for the first time, it tends to you can sort of get them mixed up in your memory. That happens to me with some parts of Sank, for example, just because you're, as a casual player, not used to thinking of them together. Check out guarding STK2. That's just information that we already had from the preset. So that is not going to help us at all. That was our first hint in Mining Plaza. Apparently our main PBs are going to be somewhere in Aegon, though. We haven't seen them just yet. Zimbabwe has already fallen considerably behind just due to worse movement. You'll notice that Zimbabwe doesn't seem to be morphing as often as the other players. Very reluctant to use the morph ball, in despite of the fact that it can give much higher speed on flat terrain. Which is costing just a little bit of time here and there, and that really is already starting to add up. We're almost half a minute, I would say, behind. Half a minute, like 45 seconds behind. Not to mention that we don't have the light beam for Zimbabwe. Yes, Accursed Lake, like I said, is missile-related, so that's going to be nothing, because it can't be Seekers.
Yeah.
We do see our Dark Beam in Portal Access A, though, which is very handy. That gives us both of our primary beams. We do still have Annihilator on the loose, but we're not sure where that's going to be. What was that in Trial Tunnel?
Movement system.
Ooh, that's very interesting. Which room is Trial Tunnel? I can't remember.
That is room closet next to worms.
Thank you. Thank you. I always forget the actual name of that room. Zimbabwe now is entering Aegon for the first time. Without that light beam, like I mentioned earlier, that could be a pretty significant hindrance. The item in the item in Mining Plaza, we can see it crystal clear on the stream quality, is just a missile expansion. I could say that with absolute certainty, which is a nice change of pace. What was that?
Missile launch is nice station A. Locked my main PBs and Spider.
Lenophis wants it. We don't have missiles yet, so I would say this is the correct move. We can just do a scannable there. On the War Wasp Hive, that isn't always there, so you really want to get it now before that hive. What was the condition? Is it fighting damage?
Defeating Bomb Guardian.
Bomb Guardian, okay.
Unless you do Bomb Guardian first and trigger the pirates, and you get double layers.
Okay. So yeah, we definitely want to do that now, while we still can, because otherwise it gets much more difficult to get that item.
Yeah, because we'll need the other Spider Ball that we're missing to grab it.
And we see Lenophis doing a little bit of a trick there. Those blocks don't actually, on the earlier versions of the game... Oh, we get a first frame morph. That's what that funny visual glitch there was. Was Lenophis morphing on the first frame of possible input after that cutscene.
Pause?
But you see, he skipped straight to the third block in that puzzle. Normally there are 3 blocks that you have to destroy in order to progress to the next block.
Oh, Portal Access A Dark Beam. I missed that.
Yeah, Portal Access A was our Dark Beam. That's what I said earlier. That's why we have both of our primary beams and not just our Light Beam. Light Beam, for those who missed it, was in Hive Chamber B.
Oh, it was B. Oh, okay.
Zimbabwe obtains the missile launcher, using the same standable that Lenophis did. That's a grapple beam. Very interesting.
Okay.
So that makes Trial Tunnel a little more interesting, because that's gotten one of the junk systems out of the way. It could still be a gravity boost, which isn't particularly interesting, although it obviously can be helpful. We really want to see that screw attack, though. That screw attack is the best movement system in the game, besides the space jump, of course. But we already have that, so this is going to have to be something interesting. There's another power bomb expansion in Crossroads, which is potentially useful. Zimbabwe, meanwhile, is choosing to do Bomb Guardian first. That's very interesting. We do have power bombs, so this is going to be an instant fight. And we do have the bombs and that Dark Beam, so we can do some of the other rooms off of this. We can do Aegon Energy Controller. We get a hint there. We get an item there.
Yeah.
And we can do Mine Shaft. Since we do have the bombs. We can't go to Mining Station B just yet. There is a screw attack in Broom Closet, though. So for Lenophis, that was the right play, but for Zimbabwe, it makes very little difference, because the screw attack, the big thing that's useful for, at this very second, like 1 minute into the future, is that that's going to get us across Canyon. But Zimbabwe can't go to Canyon because there's no light beam.
Yeah.
What was Bomb Guardian?
It was Validation.
That was another ETM. We already saw one on the way into Aegon, so it's interesting to see 2. There's going to be more than there are in a usual seed, because we have 6 SDKs taken out of the pool. Or was it 9? How many are in vanilla? Like 12?
For SDKs it was 9.
Okay, it's 9. So there's going to be 7 ETMs. 1 for the vanilla ETM that you would actually have on Dark Galaxy Splinter, and 6 for the SDKs that we've removed from the pool. Notice, I think that's how the balance is. Oh, is it 11 ETMs? What are the other ones for? I'm always bad with the counts. Oh yeah, we have starting items too, right. Yeah, Spider Ball acquired. Spider Ball on Jump Guardian, that's very interesting.
Ooh, okay.
That might be for our logical missiles. We haven't seen the main PBs yet. That's something else that we're missing before we can get missiles in logic. Which is very interesting. PBs are also logically required for our amber.
Yeah.
Where was Emerald? Where did Zimbabwe get
That
Emerald?
was Aegon Energy.
Oh, nice. I didn't catch the hint in Aegon Energy.
I did not see it either, so I don't know if he picked it up or not.
Maybe somebody in the chat has. Oh, there's our main PBs. Lenophis just found them.
Okay, transfer center, so that's not too
Oh,
bad.
did Zimbabwe skip the hint?
Possible.
Interesting. Lenophis is trying to bonk up to this ledge. Are we gonna go? Are we gonna see a Seeker skip into Torpus or something? Is that what this is, or are we doing like some kind of roll?
I believe so.
Seeker skip, yeah. That's the only reason you would want to come up here, right?
No,
No, we're doing.
okay.
Oh, we're doing a BSJ to get to the portal to get this item. Oh, I didn't realize the height was right for that. I thought it was a little bit higher. Oh, that's gonna be an advantage. Because we haven't seen that boost bulb come up yet. That's really interesting. It's worth noting that that's not going to give us all of the value that it would normally do, since we don't have the Annihilator Beam yet to solve, which is necessary for like half of the echoed puzzles.
All that was checked. Chat, so okay, so if Plaza's got something, then that echo could be important.
Main Plaza was just a missile expansion. We saw it clear as day on Zimbabwe's stream, which was thankfully very high quality.
Okay.
Yeah, this is much higher of a quality than I'm used to seeing from like SD. So it's very refreshing to be able to tell what that item is. But yeah, it was just a plain old missile expansion. Nothing special about it. Mining Plaza, complete junk. We do need to do more of this stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
We haven't seen any of our red keys yet, which is very worrying when we've already scouted quite a few of our items. Not even an Inghive key. That said, we have been pretty stacked for majors. We currently don't even have any real accessible missile expansions. We've just been finding power bombs and majors, pretty much. I'm glad the audience is also getting a better taste of the quality. I'm glad it's not just us on the restream. Lenophis also gets the immediate kill on Bomb Guardian. No issue there. We have 5 power bombs, so if it didn't go well, we could just try again. And like I was saying earlier, Lenophis has both beams at this point in time. So he will be able to quickly check Canyon and check Vent Shaft A. We can even dip into Sync. We could do Hazing Cliff. We could do Hall of Combat Mastery and Coaling Chamber since we have that Spider Ball. We can't get the hint in Hall of Combat Mastery because we don't have Cobalt just yet. Oh, that's telling us the Dark Torvus Temple's keys are in Sync and Torvus Bog, right?
Second.
Did I read that correctly?
Probably I missed it. I'll just take the word for it for now, and we'll find out later.
Alright. Zimbabwe receives that screw attack in Broom Closet. I'm sure he would have liked to see that earlier, but we'll take it when we can get it. And yes, chat confirms it was Sink and Torvus Bog. The keys were for Dark Torvus.
Okay.
So those are going to be the three of the keys that we do need out of the 6 in the game. That does mean that one of our regions is holding 2 keys. So it's going to be interesting to see which. Mineshaft is just a missile expansion, but it is our first accessible one of the game, so we're happy to take it. Lenophis is rolling further down. We are going to attempt the Seeker skip to get into Mining Station A. We only have 10 missiles to try this with, though, so this might be a little bit tight. Now, we're still missing that furthest right one on those attempts. Bonk on the upper wall there, which is also not exactly what we want. This one is not the hardest in the game, but it's certainly very tight. I was looking a little close, but oh, not quite.
More attempt for this.
And we are going to want to leave because we have limited missiles. We can only try this so many times. I don't think we were quite out. I wasn't counting. But I don't know if this is not confident in getting this.
Yeah, he ran out, so.
Oh yeah, we're just entirely out of missiles. So we're going to head over to Canyon now. And yeah, like I said, we will probably also do Vent Shaft A and probably also just go to Dark Lab since we have both of our beams at this point. There's not really any cost or like any roadblock that would make us turn around. We would just be able to go into labs and do labs, and that would be very nice. We would have a wonderful time. That is going to be another missile expansion, which is very helpful. And by screw attacking it at sort of like near that platform, we can just about hit the trigger that tells the game that we've crossed sides. So when we fall, it will respawn us on the other side of the room, which is very helpful. I'm not sure exactly how generous that trigger is. I would have to look at it in something like Prime World Edit. We have plenty of power bombs, so the Dark Samus fight is going to be no skin off our back. Now, what I am curious to see is whether... Oh, Zimbabwe doesn't even consider the BSJ, the bonk and BSJ that Lenophis did to get the item in Crossroads. At this point, we take a save. And this is going to be a save warp. I'm not looking like it. I'm really interested to see as Zimbabwe routes us. Are we going to go into the front of labs? Also, it is a life support system on Dark Oasis. Yeah, I think we're just going to go into the gate, going through CMS. And just hope that Light Beam doesn't block us out of too much. And in fairness, it won't. There are a few rooms that we won't be able to access it, especially in Dark Labs.
Yeah.
But this is still pretty comfortable, even with just Dark Beam. Light Beam, again, that was in Temple Grounds, so we are not going to see it from Zimbabwe as long as he continues down this route. We would have to go back to Temple Grounds. Light Beam is in Hive Chamber B. That is a really stellar hit for Zimbabwe. Now he knows without a shadow of a doubt where that Light Beam is. And that he cannot expect to find it. He's going to have to consult the map a little bit. He knows that that's in Temple Ground, but he doesn't remember which Hive Chamber is which is understandable. There it is. Now he knows it's part of the Hive Loop. He is going to have an advantage if he decides to go back in that Lenophis does not know what's on Dark Missile Trooper, but being that Zimbabwe has defeated the early bosses in Aegon, the mid-bosses, he will be able to check that, and he will also be able to check the ship and he is going to head back to Temple Grounds now. That is going to be his decision while Lenophis continues further into labs. Were there any interesting items in the parts of labs that Lenophis has checked? I don't see any additions to the tracker. No red keys.
There wasn't much. So I think it was a missile and sword B, and then the light ammo and fire B.
Yeah, so not much, just scraps, just ammo, which isn't really that interesting. We aren't playing with multiplayer items today, so we won't be able to see unlimited beam ammo or double damage or anything like that. The runners haven't agreed to add those to the sheet, so we only really have majors. That is going to be a red key, a Dark Aegon key in Command Center. We are going to need to go get that at some point, which is not going to be super convenient at this very moment. We really want to grab that from outside of Command Center. We don't want to go into that tunnel from Command Center because that will hit the fight trigger for certain.
Yeah.
And it will cause them to lock the gate, which isn't fun. It will cause them to spawn some troops, which doesn't really bother us, but we really don't want to have to unlock the gate. It's a pain in the rear. Zimbabwe is warping to start. Notable that we do have 2 more translators than we started the game with, so this is going to allow us to take some other routes. We get to see the item in this save station. This is normally where you would come in for the first time. And that's going to get us our sonic boom. And meanwhile, Lenophis is finding a boost ball in the vanilla light beam room, which is actually going to logically lead us to that echo visor. Zimbabwe is not going to be missing out on that for too long when he does return to Aegon, which is good news for him. Although we don't know for certain that that echo visor is important, I think I would probably, if I was a betting man, wager money that it is. The way it was placed, the exact location, and the fact that now we have sort of this logical, this path that we can follow to very quickly get it, tells me we probably do want that, whereas if it was something we didn't need, it would probably be hauled away in like lower Torvis or something.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my impression of these things usually is. Yeah, we're going to check Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds is going to be dark ammo, so we don't really want that. We will have to come back eventually if we need to go check flying ink caches. We haven't been to Central Mining Station, so we don't have a hint on what could be there. Neither of our players has been to CMS, so we don't have a key bearer hint. It could be anything at this point.
Yeah. It looks like baseball was an E-Cash 1 that I missed.
Very interesting. It is worth noting about our red keys that we are guaranteed to have 1 hint for each of our area bosses telling us where the red keys are. But there's no guarantee that we'll be able to get the translator that the hint is locked behind. Currently, Zimbabwe has access to 3 of our 4 translators, but if it's behind Cobalt, that could potentially present some issues. Lenophis returning to the light part of the labs. We're gonna see Xian processing real quickly. We have space jump, so getting the jump up here isn't too difficult. And we also just have boost ball, so this is in logic. A Dark Aegon key on that DMT, that is required to complete the seed. That is definitely going to help Zimbabwe. That's going to be very helpful. Lenophis will have to come back, and that is going to cost him a little bit of time compared to Zim, who will be able to get both of the mandatory items here at once. What was that?
Oh, that dark trooper that Zimbabwe just balled past, we gave him a name. His name is Dave.
Well, see you later, Dave. But we have some other important things. Lenophis, meanwhile, is also going to be getting his first Dark Aegon key. Dark Aegon key 3 is under Command Center. I believe it was 3.
I think it was 1.
Oh, I'm not getting it backwards.
DMT was 3, if I'm correctly.
You're correct.
Yeah.
Now, you think Zimbabwe will find anything on the ship? Do you think he'll even go to the ship? The GFMC ship? Lenophis chooses to scan that elevator. We have to head up and unlock the gate, I believe. Or did we skip? Yeah, we definitely hit that trigger. Otherwise, why would they be shooting at us?
Yeah.
Zimbabwe is not going to check the ship. We're going to come back here, come back there later, probably when we have more translators. No, wait, actually, isn't the FTA gate Emerald?
It's
Or is that
Emerald,
Cobalt?
yeah.
Yeah, that's Emerald.
It was Emerald, yeah.
Where is Lenophis going next?
You just go Slay War.
It's an interesting choice.
Yeah. That's what we're gonna do is Temple Grand Loop.
I see. I think Zimbabwe will check Sank, because Lenophis just skipped straight past it. We do have a lot of the items that we would want for Sank.
Yeah, Sank is an option.
Yeah, we could do, again, like I said earlier, we could do Hall of Combat Master, we could do Coaling Chamber, we could do Hazing Cliff. We can get a lot of items.
We could also go to Sank entrance as well.
Ooh, can we? I mean, we wouldn't be able to do that much in Sank entrance, because we don't have
No.
Seekers, we don't have Dark Visor.
Yeah, but we could at least get the item now in it. That's the only thing we
That
can do.
is true. You make a very convincing
At least with
point.
Leno's side he can. It's just Zimbabwe needs to grab his boost.
Yeah, Zimbabwe doesn't have boost for the boost spinner on the way in. Boost ball hits. Don't know if this comes across. And Zimbabwe is opting to check Sanctuary Fortress. This could potentially net us an advantage somehow. There's still Seekers, Supers, both mandatory items are at large. You can skip Seekers technically to complete the game, but that one is definitely not as common. Most people who do skip Seekers to finish the game use the out of bounds technique, which is not allowed in this race under the tournament rule set. Hall of Combat Mastery. That looks like a missile expansion to me. So that's one dud item. We have two more left. Is there much we can do if we decide to stick around after these three items in sync? We do have Spider Ball, which I think is worth noting.
Yeah.
And an energy tank and Coaling Chamber. Defiled Shrine apparently is a missile-related upgrade, so that's almost certainly nothing. And it's an ETM in Hazing Cliff. Zimbabwe can't be pleased about that.
Oh, Cliff is high.
Cliff, the Dark Metroid, the Dark Talon Metroid, says hello. Lenophis, meanwhile, acquires that second Aegon Key, Dark Aegon Key 3. Zimbabwe is going to return to the elevator and do the labs. This detour unfortunately did not play in his favor, so that's going to put him a little bit further behind Lenophis, at least for now. This was always a bit of an uphill battle. I think there's still a ways that Zim could come back from this, though. Lenophis opens the beam crystal, but doesn't try to check the plane of Dark Worship. Not just yet. We don't have Dark Suit, so that isn't in logic, and I don't think it would be very fun to do it with 2E tanks. We do have Screw Attack, so I think we could do it. When you're using the Screw Attack, you effectively just have the resistance of a Dark Suit applied to you while you're in the Screw Attack. So you can do...
You have to be like perfect movement to be able to get in and out. But...
Yes, the Inkclaw would still get you,
yeah,
for the most part. Lenophis is going to check the ship, which Zimbabwe chose to skip. Possibly some other items, like, you know, Grand Wind Chamber, possibly get the hint in FTA. This is actually the first time Lenophis has been to GFMC. Yeah, that's what was on the crate. And that's going to be a gravity boost. That's not particularly helpful at the moment, but we're going to want to have it for later, just in case. Oh, are we doing Sank Entrance, possibly? Or is Lenophis just going to get the hit? It's a joke hit, but Lenophis hasn't turned around. We are doing Sank Entrance. Or we're thinking about it, at least. Like I said earlier, we have no Dark Visor and we have no Seekers, so we will only be able to get Sank Entrance. And we won't be able to get the hint while we're here, which is a little bit disappointing, but this could potentially give Lenophis a very big advantage if something of value is here. And we have Bash Prime, renowned Metroid Prime 2 content creator in the chat. Hello, Bash.
Yo.
We're just in the middle of this tournament race. It's great to see you in the Twitch chat. I'm Bash Prime.
But I'm Bash Prime.
Now we do have to leave the room very briefly here.
Bash Prime, thank you, Reed.
That's Bash Prime.
Yeah, thanks, Bash.
I didn't know we would have a celebrity guest.
Yeah, same.
We had to reload the room here just to... There are certain elements that we need for this item that aren't present the first time you visit the room. That's sort of because of the way the developers set it up. The developers expect you not to have Power Bomb until much later in the game than from when you first come here. So they basically just didn't turn on all of the stuff there because they didn't expect you to have the Power Bomb to be able to access this. And that looks like junk. That looks like an expansion on... we used the giant turret to try and nuke the Aero Pirate. I don't know if it hit. I don't think it did. But Lenophis is not going to be pleased about this at all because that looked like absolutely garbage. Or am I misseeing it?
We might have misseen it.
I saw some orange. That can't be amber. Yeah. We already have it. Was that maybe a super missile?
It could be.
I'm very confused.
It looked like a missile expansion, but I could be wrong.
No, that's Seekers.
Oh,
that's Seekers.
Oh, okay.
That's a big item. That's a big item.
Yeah, that's also a bad shot for the head.
We aren't going to be able to continue because we don't have the Dark Visor. But
yeah.
If we did, that would be absolutely crazy. That would be an awful place for it to be if we did have Dark Visor. That is actually going to be a huge advantage to Lenophis, I feel. The Seeker missiles aren't something we can apply super immediately, but in places like, you know, Mining Station A and the Torvis elevator, we are going to be able to apply those even in Aegon. And once we actually go to Torvis, or we do some other stuff. I apologize, my dog is here, and she is a very noisy little girl, aren't you? Oh, who's a good girl? But those Seekers are going to do some very interesting things for us. Do you think we'll see Hall of Honor to Dead now, or do you think we'll see it later? Looks like a missile expansion Grand Wind Chamber.
Depending on what the items come up, we might see it coming up.
This also does mean that This doesn't mean that our missile-related upgrades are nothing, and if we get any more of those.
Yeah.
And the ones that we've already seen as well. There's a Red Temple key. That can't be our Torvis one. That has to be, that's our final Aegon key. Now we have all 3. That's actually really, really good news for both of our runners that we can see those Aegon keys so early. Because we haven't seen the hint for them yet. We have seen the hint for the Torvis keys, which means that all of Lenophis' remaining keys are hinted. We have some information as to where they are. Zimbabwe, meanwhile, gets that second Aegon key in the command center.
Okay.
I think this is a very productive play. I like this.
Yes.
How much do you want to bet that this is going to be super missiles right here?
I'm thinking it's going to be a suit, but...
Ooh, that's another good
like...
bet. I'm feeling supers. Oh, that doesn't look very suit-like to me. That could be supers.
No, that's not suit.
No, that's an energy tank. Ah.
So that is helpful because you get to refill.
Yeah. We'll definitely keep it. We're not gonna...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metroid says no. I'll grapple for you.
At this point, we have a bit of a lull. Zimbabwe is going over known content. Lenophis could expose some new items, but it's most likely just going to head up to Great Temple here, get that Sonic Boom that we saw earlier. So what about predictions for the future? What are some item locations? We need our super missiles still. Where do you think those are hiding?
I would be laughing if supers were in Torvis energy for the memes.
That could be possible. We are obviously logically expected to do quad.
I do remember that supers can be there in trickless settings too.
Yes, from the warp, obviously, from another energy controller. Once we return the energy, or once we get the light suit from Tumos, that opens up the ability to warp with main energy controllers. We don't. Do you need the light suit to actually do that as an item, or is that independent?
For the Tumos warping, no, but for the actual light beams around the worlds, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Obviously, lore-wise, the developers expect you to have the light suit.
Yeah.
They didn't actually add a check to keep naughty players from doing it.
Yeah.
You know, if there's also going to check, I believe that's Planet Dark Worship we're looking at right now. Or about to be looking at. Alright. That looked like nothing.
Nah, it doesn't look like anything.
is going to enable that echo visor if Zimbabwe saw it earlier. I'm not sure that he
I
did.
believe he did.
Okay.
I remember him looking at it.
Oh, true. He probably went the path through dueling range. That would have make sense. Getting a little bit of ammo there. Game eats Zimbabwe's screw attack input. Very unfortunate. It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
Lenophis, meanwhile, is going to use this portal to head to the Dark World.
Oh, he's going to do worms, looks like.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. May as well get it out of the way. We have all of the items we would want. We have Boost Ball to make Worm Skip manageable. We have Light Beam, which is pretty much the best weapon for damaging the Mortis.
As long as we have ammo for it, because we've...
It is a bit ammo hungry, but we have 70 in the bank, so we should be good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Super Missiles is kind of good as well if you don't have ammo, but we should be fine without it.
We have
Seekers also do well.
It's a good backup.
Yes. Worm time.
Yep.
We're 45 minutes in, and we're about to get our first STK of the seed in just a little bit. Get a missile drop, which is very helpful. And that is a successful worm skip, from the looks of it. The worm skip, for those unaware, normally in every stage of the Immortus fight, every time we deal damage to all of the worms on the egg, it adds another worm to the mix. But by doing worm skip in phase 2, then in phase 3 it will just kind of forget to add that worm. We will still be able to deal damage, but now we only have to do 2 worms in phase 2 instead of doing 3. If we were to try to do that worm skip thing again, bear in mind that would soft lock the fight and we would be unable to finish. So we have to be a little careful. What? Am I misremembering? Oh no, he is waiting.
Yeah, he's waiting. Yeah.
I was worried for a second there. You just have to wait a little bit. And that's our first STK of the game. I don't think Leno was in any danger. There was a very clear... He knew what he was waiting for. He must have some like kind of audio cue or something.
Because I think for the Q-wise is when the first worm gets latches off of the egg is when you bomb it.
Okay. I wasn't sure the exact details.
Yeah.
And now we have to hunt down our Torvus keys. We also are going to need our super missile to finish the game, but besides that, we have all of our required items to do final bosses.
It's still definitely need a suit for damage-wise.
Yeah, we would really like a suit. It is possible to do it in various suits, but you would want a lot more E-tanks.
Yeah.
Not that many more, but we're kind of close to that threshold.
I would say about 7, just for comfort.
Yeah.
8. Though logically it dictates we at least have a suit to be able to get through the third creature.
This could still be a suitless finish. I'm not writing it off just yet.
Yeah.
It's very possible. There are a lot of energy tanks. There's like, how many are there in the game? Like 13? 14?
14.
14, right. We are going to head to Torvus, though, and start looking for our Torvus keys. We know Torvus keys are in, are going to be in Torvus.
Then I was going to take it nice and slow, so less crash risk.
There's a bit of a risk of crashing around this sort of area, but we should be fine. Gonna hit the hint in underground tunnel. That's gonna be our hive temple keys. We don't need those. We have plenty of items to skip the gate into quad. We don't have to worry about that at all. And in terms of fighting quad, we do actually have all of the items we would need for that. We don't need Dark Visor. We also don't need Echo Visor, but we do have it in case we want to do it the intended method. But there's absolutely no need to. And Medvista, that looks like a big item, but I think that was probably just dark ammo. I think there's going to be something on Path of Roots. I think that's going to be our suit. I'm putting a bet now on that. Where do you think our suits are going to be?
They haven't shown up yet. I think one's going to be in Sank.
Any specific room callouts? It's always more fun when you make a bet on specific rooms.
Yeah.
Any callouts?
I do feel like wanting Airy. I don't know why. Just Airy is talking to me right now.
Ooh, I like that. That's definitely a risky one. We need a lot of items to get into Airy, but we're looking pretty close.
Actually, no. Yeah, we have lots of access to Airy.
Lenophis, I don't know what was going on there. Was trying to do like some kind of skip there to get into the half pipe before we hit that bomb slot. We do still need to hit the bomb slot to get to Torvus Plaza. And it's an ETM in the half pipe, so it's wasted effort, unfortunately.
That's possible, though we still need to find our Niter if that's the case, Reed.
Yeah, Reed Whaley says we might have something on main gyra with that Echo Visor. I think that's, yeah, that is, like you said, I think very possible.
Oh, there's one, the suits.
Oh, was that in Torvus Plaza?
Yeah, that's Torvus Plaza.
Oh, boy. Lenophis is very happy. Zimbabwe sees junk on pod as well. Plane of Dark Worship has nothing for us. Taking a bit of a save here. We're probably going to check sort of the Boost Guardian general area. Dark Torvus Arena has 2 items after all. We really should check both. We do have a power bomb, which we can lay at the very start of the fight to basically instantly win. There is some timing sensitivity to it in order to hit the Boost Guardian while it's actually vulnerable. But the developers sort of didn't intend you to have power bombs at this stage in the game, so it just instantly wins.
Yeah, I have found a consistent method for PBing.
Oh yeah, it's pretty
Down,
consistent.
if you stay near his tunnel, he will not pop up until there's a certain amount of distance between you and him.
Oh, is that how you do it? And it's
So you
nothing
kind of
on
manipulate
boost
him
value.
from popping up so that you get the maximum amount of damage in.
I didn't see anything on the half-pipe item either, so I think that's a bit of a bust. Lenophis almost gets up in just that single boost. That was looking pretty elegant, but we slid down the half-pipe, which is a little unfortunate. Gonna cost us like 5-ish seconds.
Yeah. Well, we forgot the last Aegon key, so he's got that.
The Zimbabwe now have all of the ingredients we need to make a delicious worm soup. Lenophis is going to enter Fenris Pond. This room is called. We are on our last power bomb there, so we will need to get another drop here from these saps. We do manage to find one, because there are power bomb shells on both doors into this room. It's meant to work a bit like Battleground does in Aegon, where you can't cross from one side to the other easily. At least not through that. Zimbabwe does find the gravity boost as well on top of the ship. Alright, let's see. Is there going to be anything on Portal Chamber? We are going to be checking this blind. I don't believe we've been into the light room before. Normally when you go through the tunnel in the light room, it gives you a sort of a preview of what is going to be in here if you go and get it. And it's going to be one of our Torvis keys. You can see that both of these rooms on the outside of this portal room were blue. So this was a blind check. We did just pull it immediately. So that means if we find another Torvis key, that means our last one is not going to be in Torvis. So if we find one more, we have two regions hinted, I should say. So we can find at most 2 keys in either of those regions. That is worth sort of bearing in mind as we continue to search. Although, again, we do still need that super missile, which we might not find a hint for.
Yeah.
Mostly junk here in Torvis, besides that key. We did find our suit in Torvis Plaza, but besides that, not much else. We see a little bit of style there, breaking the cover with screw attack. I did not know you could do that.
Yeah.
Thanks
like
to the note
with
with them.
He did it with it as well.
We get the skip with a well-placed screw attack. You can also use a charged light shot to immediately destroy it when it comes in. Sadly, the dark beam particles miss the second arrow pirate. Normally the particles sort of home in, that when you fire a charged dark shot, and we've used that to freeze both of them. But it only got one, the one that we actually hit, which is a little sad. That was still a good fight, all things considered. Yeah, we're gonna not ride that up to the energy controller because we don't have super missiles. We can't go there right now. So we're not really interested. There's our Cobalt.
There's the Cobalt.
That's a very interesting item to see. That's all 4 of our translators now. We do not have to worry about missing hints. Not that we did before. We already found all of our Aegon keys, and we have the Torvus key hint. And it looks like Path of Roots is not going to be a suit like I predicted.
I mean, it's a live support, so you're partially right. Just not quite.
Right
not
category,
really
wrong
bad.
item.
Yeah. Yeah. There's bug.
Missile-related
It's
upgrade.
dead.
That is going to be junk. Zimbabwe, meanwhile, is gearing up to fight the worm. It is worth noting that Lenophis is about 20 seeds ahead of Zimbabwe, so even though that this match, it looks like it's going to be moving to a loss, part of this is that Zimbabwe already had an upset, and the Swiss is sort of compensating for that by placing him against an even stronger opponent than the one he won against last time. Both of them are already 1-0, so this is just going to be... they are, like, in terms of their performance, equal, even though the seeding doesn't tell them. Even though that doesn't tell the full story in terms of the seeding. That's definitely going to be very interesting to see where Zimbabwe gets placed next week. And there is, of course, still the possibility of an upset, though at this point it's starting to look a little less likely. Zimbabwe also didn't quite manage to hit the one of those worms fully the first time. You could see that one of them had to be hit a second time, which is not ideal. We ideally want to do all the damage we need to a worm the first time it surfaces. We also aren't going to be getting a worm skip here.
You may not know it, so.
That's true.
Oh.
Bra Inc 52 asks in the chat, does Leno already have worms down? He
yes,
does.
yes,
he has completed the Amorphous fight. He does have the STK from there. So he's not going to have to worry about that at all. He could get the item in Mining Plaza right now if he wanted to, but it was just a missile expansion, so that's not going to be in the cards. We are going back into Aegon, though, for some cleanup.
Going for the cleanup, I think, unless he changes his mind.
Reconsidering, interesting. Also, I really like that little bit of movement tech you saw there, where Lenophis boosted in mining station access over up into that raised ledge instead of unmorphing earlier in the room. That was a really nice little bit of extra flair. I enjoyed that. Does get turned around by that bonk though, which is a little bit inconvenient. It's kind of annoying when your camera gets turned around, even if it doesn't have the biggest impact. That's true. Lenophis hasn't really been to Sank at all, I think. Besides Sank Entrance, of course, which is where we saw our secret missiles. That's really the biggest advantage that Lenophis has currently over Zimbabwe is those secret missiles. Those have been absolutely tremendous. There could be something in Storage A as well. We get our Morbus hint, which is obviously going to be absolutely useless. That's our second of the area boss hints. So let's. There's one more out there for Quadraxis. I believe we have the one for Chica and Morbus now. We have just passed the 1 hour mark, though, and the progress here is, I would say, pretty good for a Guardian Slayer seed.
Yeah.
Very good. We're moving at a pretty rapid clip here. Zimbabwe did take a save warp. Where do you think he's going next? Do you think we're going to see that Sank Entrance play?
I'm hoping, though he has to go a long way, because we would need to... Actually, no, we can go through Windjammer. Oh, we can't, never mind, yeah, he's got to go a long way around for that. So I think it's going back to Morbus, I think.
I see.
Could be going for the Hall of Honor Dead play.
Hall of Honor Dead would be interesting. We haven't seen Hall of Honor Dead from Lenophis, even though we have those. We've had those Seekers in tow for quite a while. That's still going to be a bit of a wild card for us. Thankfully, that is one of the checks that requires Seekers, but not Dark Visor. So yeah, that's totally accessible. But you would probably want to have that Dark Visor just to route in some of the other checks.
Yeah.
But that's wishful thinking. We do get this hint here, which was for the boost ball. Sadly, it's also too late for Zimbabwe, as it was for Lenophis. Lenophis will be able to scan this hint, which gives us our Aegon Temple keys. So that was behind Cobalt. Very interesting. Cobalt didn't come until very late in the seed. Do you remember which room we got Cobalt in? That was in Torvis, right?
What was Torvis Temple Access?
Torvis Temple Axis, thank you. Now, we've already seen these items from Zimbabwe, but just to recap, Coaling Chamber, that was an energy tank, and this in Hazencliff is going to be an ETM, which is going to be absolutely worthless. Reed Whaley in the chat says, making the call for Annihilator on O'Lear. So an Annihilator beam on a Sanctuary Energy Controller, that's a very interesting call. I do think that is... that's looking more probable now that we've really knocked out a lot of our item locations, but I don't know if I'm going to send that just yet. I'm going to say Annihilator on... where could that be? I'm going to say on main research. That's my current prediction, if we're going for sync locations. I know I have a bit of a bad track record with this seed. I haven't really guessed anything. Oh, there's our Annihilator.
You know? That's a Grizz Factory. Now we can actually get out of quad.
Climbs that very room. That climbs that room very well. At this point, the only major we're missing is Dark Visor, and it's looking like we aren't going to need it in all likelihood.
Oh, I still need to find supers, but yeah.
Oh, that's true, right. Almost forgot. We do need supers. That's one of our mandatory items for every seed. You can skip it with out of bounds, but in that tournament, this out of bounds is going to be a banned technique by default. Runners can choose to enable it optionally, but we haven't really seen a lot of that. Runners have been very openly embracing the current format, which I appreciate. We're going to see a BSJ into a screw attack here to skip that gate. And that's not going to cause any problems. The game doesn't check whether you've actually lowered the gate before it will let you fight quad.
Yeah.
It's really just a big trigger in the ring that you have to walk into to start the fight. That's really about it. Leno pulls in some ammo and a little bit of health, so we're pretty much maxed out at this point. Obviously taking damage doesn't let us maintain that state of affairs for very long, but it's not really a concern. We have plenty to work with.
Yeah.
And we're already back at max. Quad is a pretty easy fight once you know how it works. That's an Annihilator hit for Zimbabwe.
That's a big for him.
Yeah, Sank is where we also see our secret missile, so he could be compelled to go through Sank's entrance, since we are in Temple grounds. Lenophis does get hit by the homing shot, which is a little funny. Mildly amusing. The Annihilator does actually help us with the quad fight because it means we can just go out the side door instead of doing reverse skip. Also, worth noting that normally the way that you're expected to do this is that you go to Echo to lock onto the main transmitter on the quad body, but it's actually much faster just to screw attack it. So even though we have Echo, we're going to be completely ignoring that. We are going to switch to Echo to lock onto the receivers on the quad head, though. Since those are moving targets and we can't hit those with screw attack anyways. Zimbabwe is taking a lot of damage here from the Torvus Pawnery. The beasts. We are just going to farm a little bit of health from these fish. We don't get very much. I think that was 20 energy total, which isn't really worth our time. We do get the hit for the visor and crossroads, but Zimbabwe already has that and has had it for a while.
Yeah.
Lenophis, meanwhile, is about to get the final hit on quad, and this is going to be the penultimate Sky Temple key. We'll need one more after we get this one, of course, which will have to come from Chica. We are, of course, going to go into the energy controller room and grab our energy, though. We haven't had a hint for 2 motes, right?
No.
So that item is still up in the air.
No, yeah.
That would be incredible.
That'd be funny.
And entirely possible.
Yeah. I'm still gonna bet it's in Torvus energy for supers, but that'll be a close second for super location.
Zimbabwe also does just find the Cobalt Translator, which is going to help when we go back to sync.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe scapped the Torvus key. Lenophis, it's worth noting, is still on 1 Torvus key, so we don't know how many are going to be in each region yet. We already have one from Torvus, but we could have another in Torvus, or potentially that could be the only one in Torvus. We haven't found enough to get that information yet. Oh, there's another key. Which one is that going to be? Is that going to be an Inhive key? It is. So that gives us no information. No progress. We do a little bit of a skip there. Doing some of that standable terrain lets you skip earlier parts of this track, which take a while to get through. And also, by being very good at the game, we can just jump off of that little rising door to get everything here in one trip very cleanly. It's really helpful for Watch Station to know that. Gotta get our cobalt hints here while we're in the room as well. Union's reward is junk. That's very good to know, but we're probably gonna end up getting it anyways. Just to return the energy if we don't come across our go mode items between now and then. I always hated these enemies as when I was first playing the game. They were very loud. What are they called? Mechapods or something like that? The ones that are on the Lenophis screen right now. And it's one of our Dark Tortoise keys. That's our... so we're 1-to-1 for Tortoise and Sync, so it's kind of a toss-up where our last one's going to be. Reed Whaley says we could have supers on Tortoise Energy Controller, which is a very good point that my co-commentator Ivy Paw has been very insistent on bringing up. I do think that's a possibility as well. It's not going to be on Sync Energy Controller, which we've visited now for the first time. Lenophis conveniently saving that for the energy returning trip. Zimbabwe, meanwhile, grabs the first Tortoise key in Portal Chamber. The Seeker launcher can be found in Sync Entrance. So we know that Zimbabwe is not going to be getting that hint at a reasonable time. That's going to be really unfortunate. That's going to sting. That hint could have been very valuable, especially because now Zimbabwe is up to his legs in Dark Tortoise, which you really want to have Seekers for.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be... There's a few items that we just can't get now, like Cache. That's a Seeker door. We could do this complicated Seeker skip, or we're just going without. Neither of those options really are going to sound nice to us. So it's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge. And there's our final Tortoise key. Also, I looked it up. They're called Mechanobites, those enemies I was talking about earlier. For some reason, I was thinking, like, Mechapods, because they have, like, legs that are weird. That's where you hit them. Like, specifically, they're weak to Seekers, which is kind of a bit of a unique gimmick. Lenophis solves the mini gyro puzzle very quickly. Very well done. Snapshot asks if Ivy Pod's mic volume is a bit low. Do you mind turning that up just a smidge? I thought it was fine. I apologize. Hopefully that improves things for our viewing audience somewhat. That does mean Lenophis does have everything we need to get our 9 SDKs, or 3 SDKs in this setting.
How was that?
A Morphball related upgrade. Ooh, and there's also our last Inhive key. So I believe that's all 3 Inhive keys that we found as well. Alright, our chat member, Snapshot 1337 says, that's nice. So I think you should be good to go.
Yeah.
Alright, another hint. That's our quad hint. That's all 3 of our boss hints. We've also seen, I think, one of our joke hints. So I think we've got one more floating around somewhere.
Yeah, it's probably means climb, but yeah.
Is Lenophis about to do Airy?
Potentially. Let's see.
Oh! Yeah, we're going up. We're going up, and there's only one reason to go up.
It also
So,
gives
fun
advantage
fact, you
arrow.
can destroy those with Screw Attack. In-game, it tells you that those are Bendesium, i.e. Power Bomb. But you can't just Screw Attack them. It's much faster. It doesn't really save you that much time, but, you know, it's very fun to do. Yeah, I guess we're not doing Airy. Oh,
He's, I think,
turning around.
he's during gyro. Loading the room.
Ah, I see. You're right. My bad. I completely missed that.
Oh, area could still be possible. We'll see.
I forgot you had to reload this room. I thought it was just something you could just do all in one go. That's our supers!
Yeah,
That's
they
go
are.
mode. That's go mode.
Go.
We're in go mode. Lenophis is in super duper go mode. Zimbabwe is much further behind. Doesn't have suit. Doesn't have annihilators. Doesn't have seekers. Doesn't have supers. And two Torvis keys down. Lenophis is in super duper go mode. We can do this without Dark Visor. Obviously, it's not pretty. It's not nice, but we're almost certainly going to. Which is why we're seeing a save right now. We're gonna save warp, go back to start, and head all over to Torvis as quickly as possible. We've returned the sync energy, so we can just warp to the energy controller and be there very quickly. That's why we're going further into the room. We're gonna use the main energy controller warp to get there as quickly as possible. And it was an ETM on Tunos, like
Yeah.
we were hinted.
Recording to logbook.
A Majors
Oh,
and Sync map station. Is that our Dark Visor?
it has. It's either that or Dark Horse, because it cannot be Light Suit.
We already have Sonic Boom. We already have Sunburst. Yeah, we already had. So it's not a beam combo.
It's either Dark Burst or unless we saw Dark Burst somewhere.
Oh, can it be Light Suit? Can Light Suit lock itself? Do we need Light Suit to complete the game?
If there's nothing else locking Light Suit, then yeah, it could be.
I see. I see.
I'll have to wait till credits to see what that was. But we need Light Suit to get it anyway, so. So more likely Dark Visor, but it could be Dark Burst, because the combos do count as majors. Tumos is validation read. We've already got a hint for that.
Yeah, we already have a hint. That's what it was. It was an ETM.
Ah, okay.
Yes, the ammo refill station here is very convenient. Since we use a lot of beam ammo during the Chica fight.
Yeah.
We don't have a cannonball, so we're going to be spending a lot of ammo here, especially during the larva phase.
Yeah.
And we are going to be scanning it. This unlocks a new weak point that is very effective. And we kind of take a break to get some damage in while it's sort of coming above the surface a little. It's sort of like just a bit of an optimization there. And we switch to Dark Beam here. Can you tell me a bit about Chica's like unique properties in terms of its like damage vulnerabilities in Phase 1? Like, why are we switching beams so often? Feels like we used all 4.
Usually is good against when he's on the platform, but Niners, if you have a lot of ammo, you can spam it to get the more DPS out of it.
Alright, that's Phase 1 complete. Now we have the Flyer phase, which is a little bit more involved.
Oops.
We don't quite get... Normally what we're looking to do is to stun it. Now in this state we have to go behind it and shoot Seekers at its back. I remember as a child, as a young child of like 9 years old doing this fight, I did not know to do Seeker missiles there. So I would shoot missiles individually at each wing. It was miserable. Well, actually, I think I did supers, but it wasn't much better. And now you can see every time Chica dips into the dark water, it changes shade. During the light phase, we have to do that, and during dark phase, we just kind of shoot it. And its attack, I said, it summons all of these Chicklings, which are completely helpless to the charged Annihilator beam. They're also very slow, so it's not really a pain at all to deal with them. It's pretty easy. And just a little bit more, like 1 or 2 light shots. We're doing a full charge, and that ends the fight. That's our final Sky Temple key. We will have to do these platforms without Dark Visor. It shouldn't be too challenging. Lenophis doesn't even shoot them. At least doesn't shoot the first one. We have a bit of memory as to where they are. You notice he's also shooting the platform that he's on just to see exactly where the edge is. But it's not taking Lenophis much time at all to find these. You'll notice that Lenophis didn't bother going into the energy controller. It's kind of because we don't need to. All the game checks for to spawn this elevator back out is that we have left the room and reloaded it. So that's all we want to do. Grabbing the energy would just slow us down. We would have to return it. And we're not going to do that. So, and we just leave. I know Samus Aran is supposed to be a bounty hunter and intergalactic professional and all that stuff, but we don't care. We really have a schedule to keep. We have to get to our next contract, so we're just gonna kind of turn around and go home. Zimbabwe, meanwhile, is doing this, trying to get an instant morph into this tunnel, but that's going to be an Inghive key, which we don't really need. Zimbabwe might want it if they're not too comfortable with doing the key skip, but you really should learn that for a Guardian Slayer. That's almost a mandatory trick for this week. Because you can apply it in literally every seed that you play with these settings. And now you see that Lenophis is immediately heading to final bosses. We have our Seeker missiles here, so Seeker skip isn't going to be a concern. We have now entered Sky Temple, and we are just one room away from our fight with the Emperor Ing. The Emperor Ing has 3 different phases. The first one, you just kind of have to shoot it a lot. Phase 2 is a phase that specifically is Morph Ball only. You can only defeat that with the Morph Ball. You can unmorph technically, but that doesn't get you anywhere. That's not how you make progress. Phase 1, this is kind of a blink and you'll miss it. Lenophis is opting to do the super missile strategy. If we do it correctly, we'll hit it with 4 super missiles before its guard comes back up, and immediately make it over to phase 2, which it looks like we managed to do successfully. In this phase, we use the spider ball to latch onto this big egg sack, or I suppose it's more of a cocoon, really. Yeah. Where's the chrysalis? I never remember the exact.
I think cocoon or chrysalis. It's one of the two, but I think both work.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, like, a chrysalis is like a subset of cocoons. It's like squares and rectangles. Don't quote me on that. I'm not an entomologist. But basically, these tendrils come out of these holes when we get close to them, and we have to destroy all of them. Using power bombs really makes that go by quickly, so we're already at Emperor Ing 3, the final phase of the fight. And normally this is supposed to be this whole complicated phase, but just by screwing attacking at it, if we hit this hitbox that's kind of underneath the main body, you'll notice that we're going sort of below Emperor Ing. We can just kind of instantly deal with very large amounts of damage and end the fight just kind of like that. And now we have this big escape timer, as is in Metroid series tradition, and we're going to go back down to Sky Temple grounds. And from there, we're going to have the real final boss, real in air quotes. This is definitely not meant to be like the big climax. It's more meant to be like one last go. which is why they give you the timer for this part of the final boss sequence.
For people who don't know about Emery, why we screw attack is because in the devs where they were working on it, they have like little mood set you would have that you're supposed to screw attack to be able to damage, screw attack them off to damage them. And they didn't really like that later on, so they got rid of it. But the damage trigger is still, they forgot to take away, so it's still there. Damage.
And for some reason, and because there's no like the stuff for the whole shield mechanic was never in, but it just links directly to Emperor Ring's health pool, which is a bit of a mistake. Zimbabwe attempts to drop down onto that bomb slot, but misses, unfortunately, which is definitely something that can happen. Lenophis almost gets DS4 skip. GG. That was very, very fast. That was very good from Lenophis. Normally during that fight, what happens is Dark Samus 4 goes to the center of the arena, but we just completely skip that phase entirely by doing so much damage that we just instantly win, which is very, very good. Zimbabwe has chosen to forfeit this race. We see a big fat DNF in the race time room, which is very understandable. We still have 2 of our area bosses to defeat before we could win, and we didn't have all of our Red Temple keys anyways.
Looks like a DNF from Zimbabwe, so...
That's what I was saying. So we're going to get both of them into the room very shortly. Our organizer, Reed Whaley, who is also here in the chat, not with us, but in the Twitch chat, will get them in here. That was definitely a very interesting one. Do you have any questions ready?
I don't have one right now. Just probably like routing decisions. They thought were routing.
It's definitely a good jumping off point. I definitely have a few things that I have in mind. I'll let you know once we get our runners into the booth. This is all manual at this point. Thanks again to Reed Whaley for managing this stream. Big shout outs.
Oh, got that in chat, so need to get him up.
In the meantime, I'm going to log back into RuneScape. Oh, that's our first runner.
He's Leno.
Hello, GG's.
Good game, Lenophis. Congratulations. And hello, Zimbabwe. It's nice to see both of you. That was a really fantastic race. I enjoyed commentating that a lot. It was very fun to follow. A lot of choices there.
Such a stupid set of item locations.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely bull. It was total garbage. Zimbabwe. Do you want to know where Seekers were?
Yes, I just heard where Annihilators and Super were. So is the Seekers the third hit in that combo?
Yes, it is.
Seekers
It's a 3. It's 3 in a row. Seekers were in Sank Entrance.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
It was
you
absolute
could have
trash.
earlier, but you walked the opposite direction and left.
Unfortunately, the Seekers were hinted at O'Lear, so you had no shot.
Yeah, there was no way to get there until earlier.
Yeah, that was behind Cobalt.
Mm-hmm. Cobalt was in a fun spot.
You both did manage to find it.
Yeah, I got Cobalt. I made it that far at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were honestly doing really well. I know this is a bit of an underdog matchup for you. You're like 20 seeds behind Lenophis, and I believe this is your first tournament.
Right, yeah.
Have you played any other speed games before by any chance? I noticed this is the first tournament like ever on your challenge account.
Yes, I used to do like Portal and a lot of the Source Runs stuff like a decade ago or more at this point. But this is like my first time really getting into the Prime games, both 1 and 2 Randomizer.
Very interesting. You're doing really well for just starting a little while ago. Like, was that a month ago you started?
More or less, yeah. And thank you.
Honestly,
that's
this
good
is
to hear.
this is a really great showing already. You did very well compared to Lenophis, who's been at it for a while, I'll say.
A hot minute. Yep, you can say that.
So routing. What did you think of your routing decisions? The Gomo this seed, by the way, was super missiles. So that just bear that in mind.
Yeah. I got stupid lucky
That
with a
was
couple item
okay.
placements. Unhinted
Temple Annihilator.
Annihilator at Hive Gyro, the unhinted supers at Main Gyro, the Dark
Caspi,
Burst, which was hinted to be in
Oh
Sank
my
Map
god.
Station, and the Light Suit, which it's already on my credits.
Okay.
I don't know where it was. Where was Light Suit, chat?
It was in Under Temple.
Oh my.
Oh,
goodness.
good lord. Oh.
And funny enough, Cannonball was in Cache B, literally behind Chica, locked by those supers.
Oh my
That's it.
goodness.
I'm done. Going home. See you later, everyone.
And then the Sank
That's
map
hilarious.
was the Dark Visor that was hinted.
Yeah, that was hinted as a visor
Or a major, but
or a major. Yeah, a major.
Well, I knew
So
it
that
had-
could have also been a dark burst or
I knew
something.
I knew it had to be the hinted.
yeah, more likely it was
well,
Dark Visor, but it could be Dark Bursts. They do count as majors.
They do. But considering it's for progression, I'm like it.
Yeah.
It has to be Dark Visor. It's Sank map. That's so stupid. So the logic chain: go to Sank entrance to get your Seekers, to go all the way back to Aegon, to go to Torvis, to let's see here. What were we supposed to do in Torvis? Get your Cobalt Translator. Go
Get the
back
dark
to
suit.
Sank.
Dark
Get
suit
the
in
dark
Torvis
suit.
Plaza.
Yeah,
Oh,
Plaza for Dark Suit.
Yep. Go.
And there was
back
also one of
to
our Torvis
Sank.
keys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that Annihilator was just like triple hard required because one of the Chica keys was at Sentinel's Path, so you could not.
Yeah.
There was
Okay.
no way to skip anything.
Yeah, and that Echo Visor from Dark Aegon, that was required to get into the Hive Gyro for the super missiles. Or
Yep.
main gyro, I should say.
Yeah, main gyro. Well, Hive Gyro.
So
and
that
main
whole that was from so far back, I almost forgot about it, and then boom, double whammy. Honestly, it was really impressive. Lenophis did a trick, essentially bonked up to the area where he would go to the Torvis elevator, and then did a BSJ into a screw attack to get to the actual portal to the Dark World to skip the
Ooh,
boost
nice.
ball. Which Zimbabwe did not have the luxury of doing. Had to go get the boost ball from all the way in Dark Labs, and then had to go back for Echo.
Did we find Cannonball? Do we know where that was at?
No, we did not. Nobody
It
saw
was
Cannonball.
It was Cache B behind Chica.
Okay.
Yeah, so that wasn't going to come up.
Ooh.
Well, that was wild. I definitely spent a lot more time in Torvis early on than I should have in hindsight, because there was like nothing in early. Like I don't remember getting anything of importance.
Yeah, there
over
was
Torvis.
there would have been the suit in Torvis Plaza, but that's behind some items.
Yeah.
Definitely. And any final thoughts on this seed?
Seed was rude. 0 out of 10. Would not seed again.
And it was Gen by Sam.
Zimbabwe, good luck next week. It's language barrier, so there are no hints of any kind. So
That'll be fun.
Except for keyboards or SDK hints, which are area only.
Yep. So it's
Looking forward to that.
It's routing week next week.
Yeah, it's
gonna be a real test of your intuition, which does take a while to build. But I think you'll do pretty well.
We shall see. My goal currently, and it's been going very well so far, is to every time I do one of these learn at least a couple new things. And like this time especially, I learned a lot. So I'm definitely looking forward to next week. So.
Yeah, you'll definitely get a little bit of information if you watch back the VOD, which I definitely recommend doing.
Oh, 100% I'm doing that.
I will absolutely do that.
Hopefully my commentary was half decent for this race. Let's see, do we have any races coming up? Let's see. Tomorrow we're going to have a race, Bellator versus Mighty Caesar at 5 p.m. EST. And the day after that, we're going to have another race, same time, Captain MD versus the Ginger Chris. And we have 2 races on Sunday to look forward to as well. Do any of you guys stream by any chance?
I'm a streamer.
I know Leonard does, yeah.
Sometimes I stream.
Reed Whaley, do you think you could drop Lenophis' stream in the Twitch chat? I don't know if you're still listening in. Thank you very much, Ivy Pot. I wasn't sure if if that was automated at this point.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and follow Lenophis or potentially follow the rest of us if you want to. And you can join the Discord as well. You can also see the current tournament bracket. That will update after all of the races are done on Sunday to reflect the new mashups. Thank you, Reed Whaley, for setting up the bot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
I
coming
think
in clutch
that-
with
yeah.
a restream because SG was filled. Thank you too for doing comms.
Yeah,
you did
definitely.
good.
Thank you.
Well,
It was a very pleasant experience.
Yeah, I felt that last minute for a co-comms. Like I saw Piers like, you want a co-comms to help?
I'm absolutely fine doing these on my own, but I definitely appreciated your presence.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ivy Paw,
Just
for
help like fix stuff out that we missed.
the added commentary. I definitely appreciate it. Anyways, I think that just about covers it, guys. We will see you next mission.
On a side note, for the race tomorrow, alright, they shuffle Power Beam,
Oh,
So
that's going to be a banger.
and they also shuffle Morph Ball as well.
Yes, Scan Visor.
So be sure to tune in 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.
Oh, I'm excited. I'll see you guys then.
later.
See ya.
All right, that's going to wrap it up here on MP Randomizer for the evening. GG's to Leno and Zimbabwe for their performances tonight. Real quick, just wanted to jump in. This is Reed Whaley, and make sure if you have not yet, please follow the channel. We're working on getting our affiliates so we can get some emotes and some channel points so we can do predictions and other fun stuff. So if you would, please go ahead and give us a follow if at all possible. It is greatly, greatly appreciated if you haven't. And we will see you guys next mission. Thanks again. Bye.